Yeah, yeah. Normally we try and go to Vrindavan in Kartik, but Kartik's so busy. So
Yes, it is a
uh,
very busy time. Kartik, it's
yeah.
we went there for Holi, and
Mm.
it was just it was awful. I didn't like it. I didn't like it. It was just the wrong atmosphere altogether. It was very commercial,
It's
and
more commercial.
it
Yeah, I
wasn't.
agree.
It was just about messing around.
Yeah,
It wasn't really. It was. I don't know what it was. I didn't like it anyway.
yeah,
And there was too many people. You couldn't walk
yeah,
anyway. You were literally being carried by a crowd.
yeah, yeah.
And there were a lot of pickpockets and people there ready to take
Grab.
advantage.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's welcome the most wonderful woman of Hackney, Mrs. Samji.
Hare
Oh,
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
We were in London today, in Watford, and the school. So we were thinking of Hackney. I thought, I wonder if I could pop into Hackney
You
and
could have.
and just deliver one of these.
Oh, Haribol, Hare Krishna, that's
Mahabharat.
nice.
and get some bakri as well.
But
Bakri, I made khichdi today, so you could have
I would
khichdi.
have had some kitchery in the bargain there.
We had khichdi today as well.
Oh, really? What
Yeah.
is it? Dry kitchery or is it wet kitchery?
The yellow, the dry. Yeah,
The dry one. My favorite is the dry one with kadhi.
yeah. We normally have kadhi, but we
And
didn't have kadhi.
rice
Just
papa. The white
yeah,
rice papa, kadhi, and that dry kitchery is
yeah.
it is absolutely heavenly.
It is. It is. And you eat more than you think you should.
Oh, definitely. I mean, it is so delicious. I could eat a bucket of it.
Yeah.
Just let me get in there. I'm bringing out my previous life here. Okay, so let's look where we are. Let's see who will come. I've sent the message to Gemma. I told Gemma last night in the sloka lesson. She did very well actually last night, Gemma, with 3 slokas she's working on. And I told her that tonight we're doing the Krishna book. I spoke to Jigna also. Jigna thought we'd finish Krishna book.
Ah.
She thought that we started the Mahabharat. I'm not sure if she wants to read the Mahabharat. I've got to convince her a little bit that it's a fabulous read. And we're not reading by a non-devotee. We're reading by my god brother, a god brother of mine, Krishna Dharma. Krishna Dharma, when he joined, his name was Bhakta Kenny. And remember him, he was tall and he was very bright and a very good speaker. And he knows a lot of old English, Shakespearean English. Well, let's welcome Gemma, the Choli girl. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So let's go to where we are in the Krishna book. Let's go to the page that we're on. Any numbers?
We are on the personified Vedas continued. Dear Lord, less intelligent men take no other ways of self-realization. But actually,
is there any page to it?
My page is 833.
Well, if you've got a book, it's 833.
Oh,
I've only got Kindle.
If you haven't got a book, God help you. You're in my problem as well.
On Kindle, can you not mark where we stopped?
No, you're not on Kindle.
You're
not on Kindle, sadly. Otherwise, I would mark it. Yes.
Yeah.
So, the personified Ved. Let's go right to the end here. Any idea how many paragraphs we are from the end? How many pages are we from the end?
From the end.
Quite a lot.
Well, still quite a lot, yeah?
Quite a lot, yeah.
Oh, all right.
What's the how does the paragraph start?
About
Sorry.
50 pages.
No,
Yeah,
you mean we've only done 30?
yeah.
Wow.
And we've done
What?
more than 50.
What's the
Yeah,
start of the
we've done
paragraph?
39. We're not even halfway there.
Wow.
Don't
Wow.
forget that I think 1 or 2 weeks where there wasn't enough people. So
Yes, that's right as well. Yeah.
yeah.
So we are at my dear Lord.
My dear Lord.
What's the line again?
The personified Vedas continued. Dear Lord,
Right.
less
The
intelligent.
personified Vedas continued. That's
Yeah.
what we're going to find first of all. The personified Vedas continued. Dear Lord, less intelligent man.
Yeah. Take
Yeah.
through other ways of self-realization.
All right. Yeah, I managed to find it. Managed to find it. You're just going to go through it and come to the personified Vedas. There's quite a few
Oh yeah.
paragraphs beginning with personified Vedas continued. Let's do
Yeah.
prayer then, Prabhu.
Okay.
Oh yes, Gemma. This arrived today from Belgium.
All right. Oh no.
So your copy is there as well,
Good.
ready to be sent up to Chorley, Hackney,
Yeah.
and Crawley.
Thank you.
But I won't send it to Crawley. When are you coming back from India?
Only going for 10 days.
When do you leave?
Tuesday.
Right, a week today you're going.
Yeah.
So I'll send this at the end of October then.
Okay. Yeah, because we'll still be on Krishna book anyway.
Oh, definitely, definitely. So no, it's something to look forward to.
Yeah. Yeah,
Something
definitely.
it's a very exciting. The Mahabharata is it's an epic. It's like the Ten Commandments, the movie with Charlton Heston. A great epic, or like the Mahabharata when you see the 1974 movie with Dara Singh and Padmini. Epic movie. About 3 hours. I think that was 3.5 hours long, that movie. I was introduced to it in Leicester by Mr. Joshi. He was running a Midday Walla shop on East Park Road in Leicester. And we just happened to be visiting shops to collect money for the manor and give books. And we went into their midday. He said, "Oh, please, you must come and have a snack." So we went into the back room. He brought in some gatia, tasty chevra, dokla, chutney, kachoris. We couldn't believe it. We were brand new bhaktas. We were like, couldn't believe our luck. We just and then suddenly all these lovely burfis came in, along with jalebis, followed by a small bowl of gulab jamuns. So then he turned on the TV and there's the video of the Mahabharata. He said, "There you go, sit down." And 3 hours later, we staggered out of the shop onto the street. And I never forget seeing that Mahabharata movie. It was quite amazing. So let's do the prayer then. Go ahead, Prabhu.
Krishna, 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 Hare.
Krishna, 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 Hare.
Krishna, 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 Pahimam.
Rakshamam.
Rakshama.
Krishna, 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 Pahimam.
Rama Raghav, Rama Raghav, Rama Raghav, Rakshamam.
Krishna Kesau, Krishna Kesau, Krishna Kesau Pahimam.
Okay, Prabhu.
Okay. The personified Vedas continue. Dear Lord, less intelligent men take no other ways of self-realization. But actually, there is no chance of becoming purified from material contamination or of stopping the repeated cycle of birth and death. Unless one is a thoroughly pure devotee, dear Lord, everything rests on your different potencies, and everyone is supported by you, as stated in the Vedas. Eko bahunam yo vidartahi kaman. Therefore, your Lordship is a supporter and maintainer of all living entities, demigods, human beings, and animals. Everyone is supported by you. And you are also situated in everyone's heart. In other words, you are the root of the whole creation. Therefore, those who engage in your devotional service without deviation, who also worship you, actually pour water on the root of the universal tree. By devotional service, therefore, one satisfies not only the personality of Godhead, but also all others, because everyone is maintained and supported by him. Because a devotee understands the all-pervasive picture of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is the most practical philanthropist and altruist. Such pure devotees, thoroughly engaged in Krishna consciousness, very easily overcome the cycle of birth and death, and as much as jump over the head of death.
All right. So this is the Shrutis. The personified Vedas are speaking. If anyone knows the ultimate truth, it's the Shrutis, who are the Vedas themselves. So that's an interesting feature. Number one is that the knowledge that we are is being revealed to us by a Veda Paraga, or a pure devotee of the Lord. This knowledge is actually is a person as well. That's how powerful the personal aspect is. That in the spiritual world, every tree is a person. Every blade of grass is a person. Every entity is a fully conscious, fully cognizant personality, individual personality, fully satisfied in their eternal constitutional position, whatever that may be. And I've often thought, what if I found out that go back to Godhead, I go back to Krishna Loka, and then suddenly I'm a piece of grass. I'm like, oh, that's boring. Oh, I want to go back to the material world now. No, as a piece of grass in the spiritual world, as a blade of grass, one is perfectly, eternally, totally satisfied beyond any level of satisfaction here. Everyone in that spiritual world is able to communicate with each other. So it's a reality that takes time. It takes many years actually for things to sort of sink in. And it says here, the personified Vedas are saying that other people, they may take to other forms of self-realization or other religious paths, but there's not even including Brahman realization, which is considered quite high, actually, to become a Brahmavadi. Examples of a Brahmavadi. Who can give me an example of a Brahmavadi? Maitreya Rishi is a Brahmavadi. Another Brahmavadi. Hare Krishna, Smita. Hare Krishna, welcome. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you for coming, Smita.
I'm so late.
We just, it's all right. We're just around about, what about 29 pages into the Krishna book, 87th chapter. 29
87
pages.
chapter.
Yeah, 87th, yeah. Prayers of the personified Vedas. And Prabhupada is saying, the Shrutis are saying that here, Prabhupada is writing that the Vedas are claiming that what if you take to another process of self-realization, any other process, including religion, including yoga, even including Brahman realization, who are many famous people like Shukadev was Brahman realized in the womb of his mother, Shukadev. Who else was? The four Kumaras, Sanat, Sanatan, Sanandan, and Sanat Kumar. These four Kumaras, they are Brahman realized souls. So actually becoming Brahman realized is quite high. But even if you're Brahman realized, what happens after you've been in the Brahma Jyoti for, say, a 10 million kalpas of Brahma or 10 million Mahakalpas? What happens?
You come back to the material life.
Again, Aruya Kritshena Patam Tata Patantyador Yushma Dangraya. This is Lord Brahma explains that even if you've been in the Brahma Jyoti practically forever, according to our calculation, it's impossible to calculate how long you can be in the Brahma Jyoti, because eternity isn't, you cannot measure eternity. It's immeasurable. Therefore, you can be in Brahma Jyoti for like an eternity, but still, you don't get free. You have to come down again to the material world after being in the Brahma Jyoti, imagining that you're God. You know, satisfying. I mean, hey, you can be God. Archana, you can be God for 10 million Mahakalpas. Yeah, that sounds good. Of course, you get bored of it in the end because there's no association, there's nothing happening. You're just in bliss. And then after a while, you become immune to the bliss and you just find it, you know, you're conscious, but you're not able to do anything. So again, our desires pull us down to this world. So that's an interesting point. All right, then, go ahead, Archana. A devotee is never afraid of death.
Hare Krishna. A devotee is never afraid of death or changing his body. His consciousness is transferred into Krishna consciousness. And even if he does not go back to Godhead, even if he transmigrates to another material body, he has nothing to fear. A vivid example is Bharat Maharaj. Although in his next life he became a deer, in the life after he became completely free from all material contamination and was elevated to kingdom of God. The Bhagavad Gita affirms, therefore, that a devotee is never vanquished. A devotee path to the spiritual kingdom, back home, back to Godhead, is guaranteed. Even though a devotee sleeps in one birth, the continuation of his Krishna consciousness elevates is further and further until he goes back to Godhead. That's good. Not only does a pure devotee purify his own personal experiences, but whoever becomes his disciple also becomes purified and ultimately able to enter the kingdom of God without difficulty. In other words, not only can a purified devotee easily surpass death, but by his grace, his followers can also do so without difficulty. The power of devotional service is so great that a pure devotee can electrify another person by his transcendental instruction on crossing over the ocean of nescience.
Yeah, nescience is opposite to science. Science means sciente. It comes from a Latin word, or you could even say Italian, but Latin is the original word of science, means to know. And Veda means to know also. Vidya means knowledge, Veda means to know. So science, nescience means opposite to knowing. So opposite to knowing is not knowing, or Prabhupada called it speculating. So Prabhupada said the non-devotees, the devotee is as introspective as non-devotees are speculative. So a devotee is as introspective, always looking within, looking for where's my fault, how can I improve here, as a non-devotee is speculative. In other words, non-devotees, they speculate on things, they speculate on religion, they speculate on science, they speculate even on Prabhupada's books. There's people who have written in, scholars, and they've speculated on what Prabhupada is saying and come up with completely the wrong idea. Or one famous yogi, his name is Yogananda, and he wrote a Bhagavad Gita, and he's got a picture of Krishna on it for meditating. Krishna's meditating. So who's Krishna meditating on? Well, according to him, in his book Bhagavad Gita, Krishna's meditating on Brahman. Krishna's meditating on Brahman. But according to the real Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is the Parabrahman himself. And when he used to wake up in Dwarka, what was the first thing Krishna did when he woke up in his palace in Dwarka, when the cock crowed? What was the first thing Krishna did? Had a cup of tea. He had a cup of chai. No, he didn't. What did Krishna do, Smita?
I remember this, but I can't remember.
Okay, all right. I'm sure Gemma knows.
Meditating.
He meditated on himself. So Krishna would sit down and he would meditate on himself, on the Parabrahman. So that is natural for him. He meditates on the Parabrahman. So what does the non-devotee do? They imitate Krishna, and they're meditating on Brahman, thinking that I am Brahman. This is the nonsense meditations of the non-devotees. They think that Krishna meditating on Brahman, on Parabrahman, on himself. Oh, if Krishna can do it, I can do it. But we are not the Parabrahman. We have to meditate on Parabrahman. Krishna, when he meditates on Parabrahman, he is the Parabrahman. So you can see how this imitation nonsense is going on. Go ahead, Gemma.
The instructions of a pure devotee to his disciple are also very simple. No one feels any difficulty in following in the footsteps of a pure devotee of the Lord. Anyone who follows in the footsteps of recognized devotees such as Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, the Kumaras, Manu, Kapila, King Prahlad, King Janaka, Shukadev Goswami, Yamaraj, and their followers in disciplic succession, very easily finds the door of liberation open. On the other hand, those who are not devotees so far, engaged in uncertain processes of self-realization, such as Gyan, Yoga, and Karma, are understood to be still contaminated. Such contaminated persons, although apparently advanced in self-realization, cannot liberate even themselves, what to speak of those who follow them. Such non-devotees are compared to chained animals, for they are not able to go beyond the jurisdiction of the formalities of a certain type of faith. In the Bhagavad Gita, they are condemned as Veda, Vada, Rata. They cannot understand that the Vedas deal with activities of the material modes of nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance. But as Lord Krishna advised Arjuna, one has to go beyond the jurisdiction of the duties prescribed in the Vedas and take to Krishna consciousness devotional service. The Lord says in the Bhagavad Gita, Nistray Gunyo Bhavajuna. My dear Arjuna, just try to become transcendental to the Vedic ritual. This transcendental position beyond the Vedic ritualistic performances is devotional service. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord clearly says that persons who are engaged in his devotional service without adulteration are situated in Brahman. Actual Brahman realization means Krishna consciousness and engagement in devotional service. The devotees are therefore real brahmacharis because their activities are always in Krishna consciousness devotional service.
Okay, thank you, Gemma. And there's they're alluding here to the Vedavada Ratas or Rata. Rata means attached, Rati, to become attached to Vedavada. Vedavada, they just attached to the Vedas alone, the Shruti. They don't understand like the Bhagavad Gita, even though the Gita is a Mahabharata. It's here in the 5th chapter of the Bhishma Parva, the Bhagavad Gita in this book. This is the Mahabharata we've just received from Belgium, Smita.
Oh, okay.
Your copy is coming soon
Thank you very much.
in the post.
Thank you.
I'll be sending them out towards the end of October, okay?
Okay.
We'll probably start reading because we're still barely halfway through this chapter. It could be that we won't start reading till the new year at this rate, but no worries. Just keep it safe. It's a lovely copy. There's the cover. It's got a lovely picture of the Virat Roop with Arjuna and Krishna. And the inner cover is beautiful. It's a lovely lal, orange and lal color. And this is the inner cover. Really nice. So I hope you're all going to enjoy reading this. And as Prabhupada used to say, that when he was young, he would go to another village with his father, and then they would hear Mahabharata, they'd hear Ramayana, and then they'd walk home talking about it, because, you know, they'd have to walk a few miles to the next village. And then at night time, they would dream of the Mahabharata. They would be dreaming about Krishna, or they'd be dreaming about Lord Ram. And this very simple lifestyle is perfection of life. And therefore the Vedavada Ratas, they think that the Vedas are the only thing. They think that the Vedas are dealing with the modes of nature, heavenly, to be transferred to heaven, or maybe go to a higher planet. But Krishna is telling Arjuna, he says, in the Gita, that shloka is there. Nistray gunya bhavajuna, nidvandva nitya sattva sto niryoga kshema atmam. These Vedas, this 4 Vedas, Trividya. Oh, he's talking about the 3 Vedas, particularly at this point, Krishna. But these Nishtra, oh dear me. What's the shloka? Bhagavad Gita, it doesn't matter now. But Krishna's saying that the Vedas mainly deal with the 3 modes of nature. Rise above them. Rise above them, Arjuna. We have to becoming Krishna conscious means even rising above the Vedas. That's why people who follow Vedas, the Vedavada Ratas, they can't understand Bhagwan. They can't understand. They can only understand Brahman. That's their level. Okay, Jai Prabhu, go ahead.
The Krishna consciousness movement therefore issues a supreme call to all kinds of religionists, asking them, with great authority to join this movement, by which one can learn how to love God and thus surpass all formulas and formalities of scriptural injunction. A person who cannot overcome the jurisdiction of stereotyped religious principle is compared to an animal chained by his master. The purpose of all religion is to understand God and develop one's dormant love for Godhead. If one simply sticks to the religious formulas and formalities, but does not become elevated to a position of love of God, he is considered to be a chained animal. In other words, if one is not in Krishna consciousness, he is not eligible for liberation from the contamination of material existence.
Yeah, it reminds me of my upbringing as a Christian. In Christianity, you're dealing with just two concepts, heaven and hell. You're either going up or you're going down. And going up means you're going up there somewhere in the clouds, and no concept of where heaven is. And you go and you live with God. But there's no understanding of who God is, what you do. It's very, very empty. It's a very empty, and it's subject to so much speculation. And angels are there. And what are the angels doing all day? You know, you imagine angels sitting around a fire, cooking up some sausages or something, or toast on a fork. You know, what are they doing? What do they do? So very, very vague. So therefore, and their concept, they haven't got even understanding what liberation is, like Brahman realization. For them, it's just going to heaven and enjoying in heaven. And God is somewhere over there, you know, he's just like over that mountain somewhere, God is. He's just over there. And Jesus is there somewhere. But we're having a real party, you know, we're having a great time. And God is somewhere over there, you know. It's very, I don't know, it's not God-centered at all. All right then, Srila Sridhar Swami, Archana.
Srila Sridhar Swami has composed a nice verse in the regards. Let others engage in server austerities. Let others fall into land from the tops of hills and give up their lives. Let others travel to many holy places of pilgrimage for salvation, or let them engage in deep study of philosophy and Vedic literature. Let the mystic yogis engage in their meditational service, and let the different sects engage in unnecessary arguing as to which is the best. But it is a fact that unless one is Krishna conscious, unless one is engaged in devotional service, and unless one has the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he cannot cross over the material ocean. An intelligent person, therefore, give up all stereotypes, ideas, and join the Krishna consciousness motivation movement for effectual liberation.
Yeah, and Lord Chaitanya also said that Krishna Varnam Trisha Krishnam is it's in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Shukadev says this. Krishna Varnam Trisha Krishnam Sangopangasta Parshadam Yagnai Sankirtana Prayar Yajanti Hi Sumeda Shaha. Those people who have got Sumeda, good intelligence, a clear intelligence, or those people with good integrity. It's not even intelligence, you know, intelligence is one thing. Rishi Sunak, for example, he's a very clever prime minister. He's very, very clever. He's a chancellor. He's a brilliant mathematician. He's really is clever. But I'm not saying that he's not he couldn't be a devotee of Krishna. But, you know, that doesn't mean intelligent, that one's got the integrity is there. A lot of intelligent people, far more intelligent than many devotees. There are people in the world. Who can name someone very intelligent here on the planet today? don't mention Donald Trump, please. Yes, Gemma.
I can't remember his name or
I can't.
that guy. The guy that owns like Twitter and all
He owns what?
that. He owns Twitter.
Oh yeah, yes, yeah, yeah.
Oh, Elon Musk.
Elon Musk, yeah. Okay, yes, indeed, a very sharp guy. Archana. Now don't say Mansukh Samji, please.
They Google.
Google, the
We
Google
don't get-
guy, the guys who own Google, okay. Listen, now Jai Shri Krishna, he'll know many very sharp, intelligent people in his line of work.
Problem is, a lot of them want to evade tax.
Smita, you must know some really intelligent people.
I don't know anyone, but that guy, what's his name? Is it Steve Jobs? And he went to the Hare Krishna temple to eat. So he didn't have
Steve Jobs, yeah, he's the Apple founder. Yes, and the guys who founded the Facebook, and there's obviously Henry Ford. He created the Model T, and Albert Einstein, and actually there's incredibly intelligent people, brilliant musicians. Mozart was a fabulous, Beethoven, brilliant, intelligent philosophers like Emerson and Thoreau and Socrates. The list goes on. But do they have Sumedasha? Sumedasha means very good integrity, spiritual integrity. So only those who have spiritual integrity will worship Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and perform the Sankirtan Yagya. Now, who has been out with devotees chanting Hare Krishna in the streets? Yes, and what's your experience of that?
It's quite humbling because
When
you know,
you're out, you mean when you're out in Crawley with the devotees there?
I've done it in Crawley and I've done it in Oxford Circus, is what Oxford Street.
Yeah.
And then people that are just randomly walking, they suddenly just come and join you as well. So
Yeah.
that's quite good. The Crawley one is obviously quite small town, so
Small town, yeah. And people may know you there. Oh, there's my accountant there. My
Yeah.
God, he's a Hare Krishna.
yeah. So that happens in a small town. Obviously, people know you and then they'll join you. But in Oxford Street, it's a different experience.
Oh, it's very different, yeah. Well, I've experienced the good and the bad. I've been out there in Oxford Street and in different places, and in Wembley and Leicester and Birmingham and many cities chanting with the devotees. And I've been in Glasgow, visiting the barras in Glasgow and being thrown all kinds of tomatoes, eggs, having our doties lit on fire. We went through so many things there, going to chant Hare Krishna to these people. So we've experienced both sides of the both sides of the story there. Coming back to the van, to the bus that we had, completely had to change our clothes and put them in the wash. And but the thing is, what happens when you're going to the Sankirtan is that you get temporarily lifted up just a few centimeters above the Kali Yuga. You just get transcended. You just get lifted up, uplifted just a little bit above the Kali Yuga modes of ignorance. And it's very liberating. So therefore, those who are intelligent, meaning those who have good integrity, spiritual integrity, will take up the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya. All right, Gemma. The personified Vedas.
The personified Vedas continue, but a dear world, your impersonal feature is explained in the Vedas. You have no hands, but you can accept all sacrifices offered to you. You have no legs, but you can walk more swiftly than anyone else. Although you have no eyes, you can see whatever happens in the past, present, and future. Although you have no ears, you can hear everything that is said. Although you have no mind, you know everyone and everyone's activities, past, present, and future. And yet no one knows who you are. You are everyone, but no one knows you. Therefore, you are the oldest and supreme personality.
Yes, he knows everything. He knows everyone. He has no. It says there in the Upanishads actually that the Lord has no eyes, but he can see everything. He has no ears, but he can hear everything. He has no mind, because the eyes and the ears and the mind, these are material senses. The Lord's senses are not ears like our ears. They may look like ears, but our ears are functional. They're called the karmendriyas. Karmendriyas. Oh, excuse me. No, they're the gyanendriyas. Gyan. They're knowledge acquiring senses like these eyes, tongue, sense of touch, ears. These are gyanendriyas. Knowledge. They have a function. They have a purpose. But the Lord's body, he doesn't need to have ears. He can hear through his eyes. He can eat through his nose. Now, let's have a nose feast. Let's eat that khichdi with our nose. Oh dear, we're in trouble. Krishna, he can just eat with any of his senses, because they're not functional. Our senses are, our body is an imitation of the Lord's. The more we learn about the Lord's body and the Lord's form, how he's Aja, he's unborn, how he's Akayam, he has no body, but he has a form. He's unembodied, but he has a body. These are all very contradictory, but they can all be understood by pure devotees of the Lord. Okay, go ahead, Prabhu. Similarly,
in another part of the Vedas, it is said, you have nothing to do. You are so perfect in your knowledge and potency that everything becomes manifest simply by your will. There is no one equal or greater than you, and everyone acts as your eternal servant. Thus, the Vedic statements affirm that the Absolute has no legs, no hands, no eyes, no ears, and no mind, and yet he can act through his potencies and fulfill the needs of all living entities. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, his hands and his legs are everywhere, for he is all pervasive. The hands, legs, ears, and eyes of all living entities are acting and moving in the direction of the Supersoul, sitting within the living entity's heart. Unless the Supersoul is present, it is not possible for the hands and legs to be acting. Supreme Personality of Godhead is so great, independent, and perfect that even without having any eyes, legs, or ears, he is not dependent on others for his activities. On the contrary, others are dependent on him for the activities of their different sense organs. Unless the living entity is inspired and directed by the Supersoul, he cannot act.
yeah, these are nice verses actually taken from the Upanishads, where the impersonalists, they take it that the Supreme Brahman has no eyes, has no material form. He's Nirakar, or he's called Nirupa. He's a Kayam, he has no body. They think, you see, the Brahman, Para Brahman or Brahman is impersonal. He has no form. but they don't understand that they're talking about materialize, material form. The Lord's form, as explained in Brahma Samhita, Angani yasya sakalendriya vrittimanti, pashyanti panti kalayanti chiram jaganti. His anga, his limbs, can do all, he can walk with his hands, he can talk with his feet, he can see with his ears. The Lord's body hasn't got functional senses like we have. It's not functional. These senses are there as functional. His senses, he doesn't need functional senses. So anyway, as we hear about him more, we'll understand. The more. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Go ahead, Archana. The fact is,
The fact is that ultimately the absolute truth is supreme person, but because he acts through his different potencies, which are impossible for the gross material to see, the materialists accept him as impersonal. For example, one can observe the person artistic work in painting of a flower, and one can understand the color adjustment, the shape, and so on have demanded minute attention of an artist. The artist's work is clearly exhibited in painting and different blooming flowers, but the gross materials, without materialist, without seeing the hand of God in such artist manifestation as the actual flower blooming in nature, concluded that the absolute truth is impersonal. Actually, the absolute is personal, but he is independent. He does not require to personally take a brush and colors to paint the flowers, for his potencies act so wonderfully that it appears as if flower have become into being without the aid of an artist. The impersonal view of absolute truth is accepted by less intelligent men because unless one is engaged in the service of Lord, one cannot understand how the Supreme is acting. One cannot even know the Lord's name. Everything about the Lord's activities and personal features is revealed to the devotee only through his loving service attitude.
yes, it's that's explained in the Gita also. Bhakti-mam, 1855, famous verse. Bhakti-mam abhijanati. Jana means to know. Abhijanati. Yavanyash chasmi tatvataha. One can only know me in truth by engaging in bhakti, bhakti-mam, to me. Bhakti-mam. Bhakti means various 9 forms of bhakti, 9 forms. Which is the first form of bhakti that we hear about from Prahlad Maharaj? The first, sorry?
Is that Smaran?
Shravanam is the first one. Yes, that's right. Hearing. And what's the second form of bhakti that the Prahlad Maharaj talks about?
Kirtan.
Kirtanam, chanting. So the first thing we have to do when we are engaging in devotion to the Lord is we have to hear. So what are we hearing? The Krishna book, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, the Sri Upanishad, the Bhashyas by Baladev Vidyabhushana, Sridhar Swami, these commentaries, the Goswamis literatures. This is the what we're doing, Shravanam. And what are we doing then? We're hearing the Harinam. When we chant Hare Krishna, we're hearing Hare. We're not only chanting, we're hearing it. So the first business is Shravanam. When we've done enough Shravanam, then Kirtanam. What comes after Kirtanam? Someone mentioned it already.
Remembering.
Remembering, Smaranam, Smaranam, Smriti, Smara, to remember. And then after remembering, we naturally start wanting to do something. So, Pada Sevanam. Pada Sevanam. We start thinking, oh, let me do some kind of humble service. So my first service at the temple when I joined was sweeping the floor. A devotee came to me with a brush. I looked at him with fear in my eyes. I thought, what's he going to do? He said, Prabhu, I was a guest at the temple. Would you like to do some service? I said, no. I said, no, thanks. I'm a jnani. That's exactly what I said. No, it's okay. I'm trying to avoid that service because I'm thinking service means a job. But when I started doing the brushwork, I felt happy. I said, oh, this is good. This is nice. So then I got promoted to washing Krishna's pots in the kitchen, scrubbing the pots, taking the rice that had been burned to the bottom of the pot and it had gone black and scrubbing it off. And I found by scrubbing that rice off and cleaning the pots, I was cleaning my heart. And as I cleaned the pot, I was getting more and more realization. So that's the power of devotional service. So on that happy note, we'll stop there. So we're starting off in the Bhagavad Gita. It is clearly said, Bhaktaram Yagna Tapasam. What page is this, Prabhu?
837.
837. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is clearly said, Bhaktaram Yagna Tapasam. Bookmarks. Let me try and add a bookmark here. Bookmark description. What page? 837.
837.
837. Let me try and make a bookmark here. Okay. All right, I'll try and I'll do a bookmark on there. Okay, Gemma, thank you for joining.
Thank you, Gemma. Thank you,
Thank you.
Archana Prasi.
Rita, Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you, everyone.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Thank you.
So we'll continue on. We'll finish this off. Then it'll be Mahabharat.
Mahabharat.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
And have a nice
Thank
trip
you.
to India. We won't see you next Tuesday. You'll be on your way to Bharat.
I'll be flying.
Oh,
Be flying. So we'll see you in a few weeks, 2 or 3 weeks'
2
time.
weeks time. Yeah. 2 weeks
Hare
time.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Have a
Hare
good time.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Don't fall in the Ganga. Dive in the Ganga. Hare Bol.
Hare
Hare Bol.